Hey, welcome back to the Seng Media Podcast. I hope you're listening in well today. If you're watching this on YouTube, I hope you like the two different angles I did again. I just wanted to change it up. I'm trying to find the right angle that works for me and stuff like that. But today is episode 6. Thank you for supporting me for this whole entire season 3 and stuff like that. And hopefully I can keep it going with more subjects and keep you guys interested in listening to the stories that I have to tell and the advice that I have to give. For today's episode, we're going to be talking about creative rut. I actually got a DM recently in my Instagram talking about this subject and wanting to hear more about how I dealt with it, what I do to go through it, and how has creative ruts personally affected me and stories that I've heard that helped other people. So I'm hoping this podcast can help you. And shout out to the person that DM'd me it. I don't know if you want your name included and stuff like that, so I'm just going to leave it alone. But thank you so much for giving the question, and I hope that this episode helps you out. I also wanted to mention back to episode 1 through 4. I apologize for the audio differences and issues. I believe on episode 1 to 4, I did record in the podcast studio right here that you're seeing, but I messed up the audio settings, so it sounded like there was a lot of background noise, and it sounded like the audio is coming from the cameras and stuff like that. But right now, I think I have everything set to right settings, the right volume and stuff like that, so hopefully everything sounds a lot more crisp and a lot better for y'all. But let's get right into the subject. So a creative block, creative rut is a very serious thing. I've seen it happen to countless of people, me, myself included, and it's really hard to get out of. And I've seen people be in a creative rut for a week or two, to a month, to almost 3 months to half a year. It all depends on the person. It all depends on what that person's going through, the social circumstances they're going through, what they're dealing with mentally, and, it just seems like, why can't I bounce back into it? And let's dive into, what usually gets you into that creative rut, what usually gets you into that creative block. And what gets most creatives getting that creative block is actually the fact that I think it's honestly that we're burning ourselves out, or we're comparing ourselves too much to other people. Those are the two things that I really believe that gives you the creative block, and is the reason why you can't get those ideas coming through, or you can't seem to like the way that you're doing things. I named those two mainly because I know for personally, and all the other stories I've heard with other creative people that I've been with, is usually it's after a burnout when they've done project after project after project after project. They kind of get out of ideas and they don't know what to think about, or they feel unmotivated. They don't really want to do the stories anymore. And I can see that because when you're doing a project, or when you're doing a lot of creative things at once and you're putting no breaks on it, or not like interacting with social life, or like balancing all at once, I could see where it makes you feel like, wow, like why can't I think of any more ideas? And the way that I would like to think about it is because you're burning yourself out, where you're making it that there's no more ideas for you, or it's not becoming fun for you. It's becoming more of like a job for you, or a responsibility. And when we're doing these type of work, or when we're doing these type of things, it's usually passion projects. It's usually stuff that we want to do, stuff we want to talk about, stuff we want to execute. And I feel like if you're just doing it for the sake of doing the project and stuff like that, or just keep on moving forward, you're eventually going to hit that wall where you're going to be blocked out because you have no more ideas. That's one way of seeing it. The second way of seeing it is, I think it's because you're comparing yourself to a lot of other people. I feel like one thing that makes people have the creative block is saying that, oh, I can't make it as good as this person, X, Y, and Z, or I don't know where to start. I don't know, this is not where I want it to be, X, Y, and Z. It's like you are looking up to people, which is great, and you want to be on the same par, the same production quality, all that type of stuff is them, right? And that's a good goal to set for yourself, but it's also a hindrance on top of it. It's a double-edged sword. If you think about it, you're looking up to these people, you're looking up to these projects, and you're comparing yourself to them, but then it's stopping you from getting it done in the first place because you don't know how to start and you don't know where to do it. And that's what's giving you the creative block of saying, oh, I have no ideas, or like, I just don't have the motivation to do it. It's because you're battling yourself mentally, right? You're battling yourself and trying to figure out, how do I do this? It's not as good as I want it to be. But in my personal opinion, you gotta persevere and push through it. That's how you're going to get through at least that type of creative block. To resolve that issue, in my opinion, is you need to stop comparing yourself to others. You could always look up to them, right? Compare, find kind of like an outline of how you want to do that project, whether it's a photography, photo shoot, whether it's a video that you're trying to do, a commercial shoot you're trying to do, whether it's starting a podcast, whether it's anything that you want to do in your realm, right? Making a short film, X, Y, and Z, painting, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you can't hold yourself back where you're comparing yourself so much that you're not able to get the project done. And that's why you feel like you have a creative block, because I know there's countless people out there, me and myself included. I'm just laying in my bed, I'm like, dude, I want to get all these things done, but I don't know what's stopping me. It's like, I feel like I can't get any ideas. And when I watch other people, it's like, I don't want to copy them, or I'm never going to be that good, or I don't think I can make it as good as them. But you can't always fixate in thinking in that way. You need to make sure you have the energy and the motivation and just the balls, or just the courage to just do it. Go out there, start that project. Have one small idea. Don't overwhelm yourself with multiple ideas. Have that one small idea, and maybe that could pick up the traction for you to keep on going. But other ways that I know, so going back to the first part where you could get a creative block, is like when you're burning yourself out. That's when I talked about it with my good friend Photography. If you don't follow him, I'll put his Instagram and stuff like that. But it's a good thing to recharge your batteries, right? That's something that we talked about with each other. It's where you need to be able to, mentally check out before you could check back in. And knowing the difference of how long it takes for you to check out. Like, if you feel like you've been in this creative rut, this creative block for such a long time, maybe it's because you've been going too hard and you really need to sit back, play video games to recharge, go out with friends, go out to the club, whatever it is that replenishes that battery for you. Some people can just dive right back into it if they're finding a different type of hobby that will ignite their passion again. So I guess for an example for that is, at least personally for me, right? I want to keep on doing like short films. I want to keep on acting and stuff like that. But sometimes I can't find the ideas, or I can't get the people, or scheduling just doesn't work out and stuff like that. Or mostly that stuff. And then I start to forget about it, or I start getting into a block where I can't think of any other ideas to execute at that time, whether it's a solo film or a film with one other person and stuff like that. And once I get into that block and I can't think of any ideas and I'm just sitting there for a week or two, the thing that actually brings my passion back is doing these side things, such as this podcast. When I start thinking of ideas for the podcast, or I have different hobbies that I like that it's in the creative field, it ignites my OG, like my original passion that I want to do, right? So it's keeping your mind occupied too. So you can recharge your batteries, or you can find something that sparks that ignition again, right? So when I do these podcasts, or if I do a photo shoot, or if I shoot a project with a couple of friends with their ideas, what they had, and I'm just helping along with the project, it starts making me think of more ideas for myself that I want to execute, and it's bouncing back and forth with that energy. That's what really helps me get back, at least for the recharging standpoint. It's either that, or there's times where I haven't done anything for a solid month, to 2 to 3 months, and then boom, something just struck me. Or like I got finally so motivated or so tired of quote unquote recharging my batteries, where I was just sleeping, playing video games, going to the gym, and just repeating that day by day. I was like, dang, I really want to do a project, and I just bounced right back into it. And all of this is easier said than done, right? And there's different ways to get out of that block. Another thing that you can do is, I really believe in the saying that you surround yourself with the energy that you want to reflect, and that's the type of outcomes and personalities that you will do. If you hang out with other motivated people that want to get projects done, that's creative or that's in the realm that you like, so like let's say you're into design, let's say you're into fashion, X, Y, and Z, get with other, design heads, fashion heads, photographers, videographers, and stuff like that, and feed off each other's energy, have ideas, spit it back and forth, and next thing you know, you're collaborating. And when you're collaborating, maybe you execute their idea first, or maybe when you're talking with them, you have an idea and they want to help you out with it, and that's another way to get it going, right? And there's no right perfect answer, but I hope like these 3 options helped you. To summarize all of it, right? It's either you need to take a long break, recharge all those batteries. 2, you need to start comparing yourself to others and limiting yourself because you're mostly battling your mental of like, I don't know where to start, or I'm too scared to start, or you don't want to be seen as a quote unquote laughing stock, or didn't know where you were starting off with, or didn't hit up to your expectations. Just know that you're going to learn along the way, right? So you just might as well start. It goes back to the episode, I believe, 2 of this season of just starting something. 3, it's finding other hobbies that can ignite it. And finally is getting with other creatives that are in the field that you want to start diving into, so you can bounce off those ideas and just keep on going. I hope this podcast helped you, and all my listeners are getting some value off of this, because I could talk about this countless of times, and I want to have a guest here for this episode, and I'll try to schedule that for the future and stuff like that. It's just been a lot of solo episodes lately this season. Sorry about that. It's hard to get scheduling right, and getting people's free schedule and stuff like that. But if you like this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe, or share to Spotify. Everything helps out. If your questions got answered, if you have any more questions, stuff like that, please leave it in the comments below or DM me at Seng. And we'll hopefully see you in the next episode, guys. Peace.